Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. It's Vikings week, Grossi, and today we're going to be previewing the Week 11 matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the purple incarnation of Satan, the Minnesota Vikings. And to help break it down, we got a longtime mod, longtime friend and supporter of the show. It's been 3 years since this man has been on Packcast. And so we welcome him back to break down this fracking game. He's got his own YouTube channel, otherwise known as Minnesota Vikings Man 28. Adam, thanks for coming back, bud.
Thank you for having me on, buddy. How are we doing?
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Now, Adam, I'm going to jump right into it because I have one question for you real quick. What's it like in hell? Is it seasonal? Like, is there like a fall? Is there a winter? Is it always cold? Is it like Dante's Inferno? Being the purple incarnation of Satan, kind of what's the temperature looking like?
The temperature, it varies.
Okay.
Because this team ups and downs,
ebbs and flows
throughout not just the season but through entire games. And
okay,
it takes it gives you heart attacks also.
Yeah. Well, I think the number one question on a lot of people's minds is because I'm looking at this game and I'm like, this actually is probably gonna be a close game because, as you know, I've actually sang the Vikings praises and have said a few weeks ago, like, they're an underrated team. You know, they almost beat the Cardinals if they had a field goal kicker. Now, there's like these games where they're just losing out in overtime or like, you know, that's going down to the last second. And like they're fighting teams. And I don't know if they're like playing up and down to competition because it just seems like there's no consistency. It's like either you're getting the greatest team and like they're going to go and run all over the Chargers, or they're losing to Cooper Rush and the Cowboys. So can you explain to me like what is going on with your football team this year?
What is going on with this football team? Playing to competition is basically what it is. I mean, you have week 1 against the Bengals, how that ended. I mean, we thought at that time that they were a terrible football team, and
sure,
now we know that they're not so bad. And then, yeah, Kitty goes meow.
Kitty goes meow.
The Cardinals, the card game, thought we're going to get walloped, and then we played conservatively at the end, not trying to get more yards, which has been a consistent theme of this team. This entire year, playing too conservative, except for last week where we went up for it on 4th down against the Chargers to end the game. So we accomplishment, yes. But Seattle game was the only one where it wasn't close. But it's just being conservative is the main thing, and not taking advantage. When we get out to a lead, we have been getting out to a lead at the start, and then once we get a lead, we just sit back and just not being aggressive enough. So and that's proven a lot in this season. We get a lead. Let me see. We get a lead against the Browns. Don't score any more points. We get a lead. We have a huge lead against the Panthers. We blow it and save it in overtime.
Yeah.
Against the Cowboys, we get a lead, blow it, etc. It's a roller coaster that I want to get off of.
I don't want to ride no more. I want to get off the ride. So you mentioned, you know, this conservative play calling, like the way the game plan would have you. And I know that speaking to Vikings fans this season, and you even saw it a little bit last season, you know, Zimmer, I feel like his name is coming up more and more as a coach who is potentially on the hot seat. And I know that Vikings fans kind of have like a love-hate relationship. Like when he first comes in, you're like, he's this defensive-minded guy. Your defense is rocking and rolling. You're like, oh man, look how good they are, etc. And now we're in 2021. Last year, the defense is horrible. You know, obviously, like you lost a lot of guys. There's injuries and things like that. This year, the defense is like like you said, it's roller coaster. It's ebbs and flows. I know you're getting some guys back, which will definitely be helpful. So kind of what are your thoughts on Mike Zimmer as he stands as like the Vikings head coach? Is he still the guy to kind of like steer the Vikings to success? Or do you think that maybe after this season, he'll be steering another ship?
Well, that all depends on probably if we make the playoffs or not. And that's been my thing. I don't know. I mean, I would love to make the playoffs, of course, as a fan. But like, I feel like it would be more beneficial if he wasn't on the team anymore, because like you have Stephon Diggs, who left the Vikings, and for good reason, run first team, and he didn't want to be in that type of situation. And I don't want that to happen with Justin Jefferson later on.
I'm okay with that.
No, but
Matt LaFleur came out and said that he wanted him, that he wanted to trade up and wanted to draft him. He said that this week in his press conference. So, I mean, listen, if he wants a home, we will happily take him.
No, you're not getting there.
We'll give you like a 6th round pick. I think that's fair.
No, but it's Zimmer. He's had his time. He's had, what is this, 8th season now. He's longest tenured coach right now, who hasn't won a Super Bowl. He had his time. He had 2017, his peak year, with Case Keenum as quarterback of all people. And after that, when we didn't win, we sort of the defense got worse. I mean, we had to release players, not all that stuff as usual, but it's just gotten mostly worse and worse until a rebound this year. The run defense hasn't been great. Pass defense has been fine, but Zimmer, I think it's just the time. It's just the time right now. We need to get rid of him. He hasn't proved. He hasn't shown the results. Haven't gotten to net. We haven't been really. It's been every other year with Zimmer. If we don't make the playoffs this year, that'll break his streak of every other year. 2014, no. 2015, make the playoffs, and so I think it is his time to go.
It's just kind of outdone, because Aaron Rodgers was talking about this too and saying like Zimmer usually schemes up pretty well, and like, with his defenses, they're super duper creative. And it seems over the past couple of years, your team has morphed a little bit to focusing a little bit more on that offense, right?
Yes,
obviously we'll talk about Kirk Cousins, but you bring in a guy, you draft Justin Jefferson, who was a stud for you, right? Adam Thielen, consistently one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Dalvin Cook, one of the best running backs in the NFL. So you have like this offensive focused team. And what do you finally do in the draft? You finally address the offensive line, right? Exactly. So it's like, wow, this problem that has been, permeating for all of these years, finally addressing it. And you're like, okay, this offense can be really good. And I think that that's the most confusing thing for me, because you have all of these weapons. And so when you're facing a team, because I haven't watched a ton of Vikings games, but I watched the Cowboys game, like I'm watching that game and I'm like, what is happening? Like they're stagnant on offense. Kirk Cousins, I feel like in the beginning of the year, real good. And then I don't know if it's a conservative play call. I don't know if it's his playing ability. What do you think is slowing down this offense? Because I feel like you have the weapons there.
Well, as I said, I think part of it has to do with Zimmer and his wanting just to establish the run, keep running the ball instead of using all of these offensive weapons that he has: Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, etc. And that is a big contributing part to it. Short passes, playing conservative, and maybe not trusting Kirk Cousins. I mean, this is the first year that Kirk Cousins and Mike Zimmer have sat down and and watched video together. So
was it ever confirmed what video they were watching? Because maybe it had nothing to do with football. Like maybe they're just like watching like Dumb and Dumber, or they're watching like Spaceballs. Like they're watching something else. Because when I heard that, I'm like, what?
I don't think he never trusted. I don't think he's ever really trusted Kirk Cousins. I feel like he always wanted just to keep. I think he wanted to keep Teddy Bridgewater. That was always his guy. Sure. And then once 2017. happened. I mean, once he got injured, and then Case Keenum blossomed for 1 year, and when he was sort of maybe like forced to, cut both of them, it's like he never really wanted Kirk. Like Everson Griffin, was it this off season? I don't know, whatever. He said Kirk
blasting
Cousins,
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Blasted Kirk Cousins. I wasn't going to repeat that, but for PG purposes. But I don't know. I still don't. I'm not 100% sure if Mike Zimmer fully trusts Kirk Cousins in his ability to really lead this team, and I think Kirk Cousins has shown in some games he can be great.
Sure.
And then some games maybe not so much. Maybe that's probably sometimes on him. And being a little nervous, like against the Cowboys, that primetime Kirk, doesn't do so well. So
he won that Monday game last year.
He did won that one Monday game, but like that was a low scoring game. We didn't really have to do much against the Bears, who were.
Well, so like I'm wondering that in that case, like, because as you're talking, I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, okay, if Mike Zimmer is a defensive minded guy, which he is, right, and he's a run first guy. I mean, it makes sense that the quarterback is not taking center stage within, that offense. But now, like, hey, that's how you wanted to run things. And you did, because, listen, Case Keenum wasn't lighting it up by any stretch of the imagination. But it was a strong run game, and that defense was really good. That's what got you to the NFC Championship game, right? So now it's at this point where it's like, okay, that's what you wanted to implement. But now you're sitting here with two great receivers, a great running back, and a quarterback that can at the very least get the job done.
Yes.
So like maybe it's just we need to get out of this traditional mindset, because this is just not what the team is anymore because of years and people leaving and drafting and developing. Yeah. It's just now like maybe it's time to put more of a focus on the offense and see what Kirk Cousins can actually do.
I totally agree with that. And we've been through so many offensive coordinators under Mike Zimmer. I mean, this whole list, I mean, what do we even start with? Like Norv Turner, I think that was the first one, Pat Shurmur, John DeFilippo, Kevin Stefanski, Gary Kubiak, and now Clint Kubiak. I mean, and what's the one consistent? And the offense hasn't really changed so much. And the one consistent has been Mike Zimmer is the head coach. So that is also another reason why I feel like he needs to go. I feel like the offense is being held back by Mike Zimmer and not showing their full potential.
Yeah. So, I mean, talking about Kirk Cousins particularly, right? So years ago when I spoke to you, right, you're bringing in Kirk Cousins, $84 million. And I'm just like, this is amazing. This is the greatest thing in Packers history. You extend him and give him a crap ton of money. I'm legitimately curious, like right now, like where you stand years later, like on Kirk Cousins. Like, is he a guy that it's like, listen, he's not going to be the most elite quarterback in the world, but he's like enough to get it done? Do you think that it was a mistake bringing him in? Do you think it was a mistake bringing, like, paying him all that money? Or do you think like, hey, like the future of the team is Kirk Cousins?
That's a good question. Well, number one, he's not worth 84. He wasn't worth the $84 million like we hoped.
He wasn't?
No. Unfortunately, just couldn't even get to the NFC Championship game. So
you like that? Yes, I do. I do. I'm sorry. Good.
No problem. He can get the job done. Yes. I've always believed he can always get the job done. Can he take us to the big one? Maybe not. I'm not 100% sure, but that's because I have to see if Zimmer is gone, and Cousins is still there, and Cousins still can't do well, then that's definitely a sign. But I think Cousins is. I don't think he's gonna be the future. He's good enough. He was better than. I mean, he's a little bit an upgrade to a Case Keenum, better than a Teddy Bridgewater, but he's borderline close to top 10, but not exactly that. But
like middle of the road, like kind of
Middle,
like a
he's a
middle of the
middle of the
road,
road
like
guy. He's a very
above average
guy.
QB, I would say.
He
You know,
he
it's like to
he
give
can
him some respect. Like it's above average, right?
he's
Like
above
I just
average. He's above average. He can get those. He can get those deep passes off.
sure.
To Jefferson. But I don't know that if that's I mean, we drafted Kellen Mond
Yes,
and
you
in the
did.
draft, so
You did.
my mindset is thinking that Kirk Cousins is not going to be the future, and maybe looking toward Mond. But my gut feeling though is that like Zimmer, Cousins, and also Spielman, our general manager, are all connected into this.
So if
And
one goes, maybe all of them go.
all of them go. That's
Well,
my thinking.
Well, because Kirk Cousins, so he is on his penultimate year of his contract, right?
Right.
So right now, his cap hit is $31 million. And next year, it's $45 million.
You didn't have to remind me of that.
I just wanted to make sure the viewers knew the numbers. But after that, after the 2022 season, he'll be 35 years old and he'll be an unrestricted free agent. So in that case, I mean, because listen, the Packers, oh boy, buddy, next year, like that offseason, you're going to be the happiest you've been in a decade because there's going to be so many cuts. There's going to be so many Packers that are just going to get, shipped off elsewhere.
Hopefully one of those is Aaron Rodgers.
That's going to be your Super Bowl, bud. Like that's as close. Like, see that Lombardi? That's as close as you're going to get to it. And it's going to happen in the middle of the offseason. So I'll give you that. You that. I'm curious that next year, given your cap situation and you're paying Kirk Cousins $45 million, it seems like you're tied to him for at least one more season after this. So
Right.
if you're saying they're all connected, I'm curious if you even get rid of Zimmer this year, because it's like, listen, let's ride it out this season, next season, and then potentially do it. Because if you want to bring in a new head coach, I would imagine they want somebody, that they're going to pick or want to work with, or like a young guy, etc. But if you're looking at like next head coaches, I don't need names or anything, but do you think that the Vikings would prosper, or it'd be more beneficial for them to bring in an offensive minded coach? Or do you want to stick with that traditional, like, hey, ground and pound defense?
No, with the weapons that we do have now that we're more of an offensive, talented team, I think we need to bring in an offensive minded coach. As much as I've been loving a good, defense early on in the Zimmer regime, I feel like with what we have now, I feel like we need to show the full potential of this offense. And at least if we can have a semi-good, if we don't have as good of a defense, that's fine. But but I feel like an offensive-minded head coach would really be beneficial, being more aggressive and getting out to big enough leads where we don't need to rely on the defense to necessarily win us the game.
Two questions that I want. One, it's not going to happen. But would you want Aaron Rodgers?
No, I don't want Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I know you wouldn't want Aaron Rodgers on the Vikings, no, but it's an interesting thing to think about. If he was on the Vikings, that's what I would have to. I don't even want to say it.
You have to root for Aaron Rodgers, buddy. You
got to root
for Aaron Rodgers.
And if we won a Super Bowl under him, it wouldn't feel right. And
you could give it back then. You could just be like, you know what? No, I don't want this. So you're saying that the Vikings won a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. You'd be like, oh man.
I mean, I would be excited. It just wouldn't feel completely right. Unlike Brett Favre, if Brett Favre would have won with us, I don't know. I like Brett more than Aaron Rodgers, so
But him and Kirk, but Rodgers and Kirk have so many similarities.
They're both
just not talent wise, but others. There's a lot of other
things
that they can connect and talk about it. Well, all right. So because I don't think it, because the Packers are going to trade him, and they're definitely not going to trade him to the Vikings where they have to play him twice a year. But But going forward, I mean, like you have Adam Thielen under contract for I think another 3 years. So like you still have him. Justin Jefferson is in his rookie deal. So
Right.
like you have those wide receivers, locked up. Dalvin Cook, obviously you gave him a big extension. You have these guys locked up for a while, and then you have an offensive line that's like slowly starting to emerge. So I think it makes sense for you to bring in like an offensive minded guy. I think the next big question besides head coach is going to be like, where are you going to look for QB talent? Is because I don't imagine Kirk Cousins is going to get another contract on top of what he already has.
No.
He's already made out like a bandit. He can go make like a Scrooge McDuck pool of gold and go swim in it. But I think it's going to be interesting to see if you decide to like go the draft and develop route, especially, if your team doesn't make the playoffs this year. And you have a little bit of a lower draft pick in a weak QB class. But I mean, I think that's kind of like the next big decision for the Minnesota Vikings.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we already have Kellen Mond, so I wouldn't even think we would get a QB.
Just give him a shot and see what happens. Yeah.
We'll see. Give Kellen Mond a shot and see how he does. But
I mean, heading into this guy.
Yeah. No, the draft. I mean, if I know Rick Spielman, that's how we always build our teams through the draft. You've seen through our defense, building from 2014 when Zimmer got here, and then 2017 where we're fully merged. So, if we can do the same thing with the offense,
just try to do it again. Yeah,
just do again. Keep rebuilding. Keep being 8 and 9, 9 and 8. It's purple purgatory, basically.
That's it. Purple purgatory. The question I had for you was heading into this season, knowing how last season went, did you have like high expectations for this team? Like that they were a playoff contending team. The defense was going to be a little bit better. Justin Jefferson in his sophomore year, of course you have Cook and Thielen. Was it the expectation like, hey, we're going to be able to contend for the playoffs?
Yeah, of course. I mean, especially with 7 seeds, you would expect to make the playoffs, especially as I said, under Zimmer, it's been every other year. So technically we should make the playoffs this year. So making the playoffs, absolutely, with improved defense, because last year that defense so awful. You saw Alvin Kamara run for however many touchdowns on Christmas Day, 6 touchdowns. Yeah.
Great Christmas present.
So I was expecting improved. I mean, it is improved. We got Patrick Pearson, we got Dalvin Tomlinson added, and Everson Griffin back. So I think I expected this team to be. I was expecting the North race to be a little bit closer than what it is right now, just because of those close games. We haven't made it close to North. Packers are running away with it, so they're probably going to win the NFC North. So yeah. So I was expecting maybe we get like a high wild card. I was thinking maybe like 5 or 6 seed.
Sure.
But now I'm just like, can we just please? I'll be okay with just the 7 seed at this point.
Just make it to the dance. That's it. And then be on the Nickelodeon game. That's if the Bears can do it, Adam, you could do it. That's it.
And Kirk Cousins was MVP.
That's it. That's what we all want to see. Everyone can win the MVP while ours wins the MVP. It's fine. It's fine. Justin Fields will be next in line, not Jared Goff though. And so, before we look at Sunday's game, how are you looking at the rest of the season, given your schedule, the opponents that you still have left to face? There's a good amount of competition and challenge that's in there. I literally wrote it down the other day and I just wanted to totally unprofessional, forgot it. So you got the Packers twice. You still got the 49ers, Lions, Steelers, the Bears twice, and then you got the Rams. So it's like not the easiest of schedules to go. Like, do you think, given where you are right now and given how close these games are, do you think that you can like at least capture a wild card spot?
I think we can capture a wild card spot. It's not too incredibly difficult. Like we could manage to sneak off some wins. I said Packers. I predicted before the season probably going to be I think it's going to be a split. Lions going to be is basically a bye week at this point. Let's see, the Bears could be a split, but I'm hopeful because especially since in a situation where we could possibly sweep them. Rams, who knows? The Rams, I don't know about the Rams anymore. It's a home game, so that's something.
It helps.
But Steelers, Steelers, I think we can get a win, and then Niners is the other one, on the road. I don't know. The
Mixed
NFL
bag.
is so unpredictable nowadays. I don't even know.
Yeah,
so
no, I don't think anyone knows,
I could
bud.
look at here like, oh yeah, we can, maybe lose, maybe the least, maybe like a couple games, lose maybe one to the Packers, lose to the Rams, and maybe we can pull off all these other games. But
Yeah.
and finish 10, that would be 10-7. Well, maybe lose one more, maybe 9-8, 10-7.
I mean, the NFC, like, that's the nice thing right now is the NFC, like, you're technically in the hunt even with a losing record because the 7 seed currently belongs to the Panthers, who are 5-5. So,
Right.
like, like those last few spots are definitely open. Like, the NFC is very top heavy, but after that, it kind of, goes down the drain. So, when looking at this Sunday's game, Packers are coming in, obviously not at full strength whatsoever. Aaron Jones is not going to be there. Jair, of course, is not. No Zadarius. Like there's got, Dave Bakhtiari. We'll see if he's going to play. How do you see the game on Sunday playing out where the Packers now are coming in with a top 3 defense, which is a weird thing to still say. Top 3 defense, your offense has been struggling a little bit, but Aaron Rodgers has another week to recover. Kind of how do you see this game playing out?
Well, as with any divisional game, I don't care about it's any given Sunday.
Yeah.
So especially with the Packers being down a lot of people while we were getting healthy again, I think we can maybe take advantage of this. And if we can, as much as I been criticizing Zimmer for running the ball a lot. I mean, that's what won us the game last time. We played you guys. It was in Lambeau.
It was Dalvin Cook. It was just
Dalvin Cook. That's Dalvin Cook. All we need is Cook. But I see this game with the Packers defense. I mean, I like what you guys are doing defensive wise. But Zimmer, Clint Kubiak, I should be saying, I think has some plays scripted up and against that defense. And
Here you go, Dalvin. This is my game plan.
Yeah, just be like the 49ers in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, or the 49ers on Monday and run it 43 times. Like,
yeah, just run the ball. Honestly, it's one of those games where I wouldn't be mad if they ran the ball so many times, and of course, get it to Jefferson and Thielen, of course, so they can get their target. But if we can establish the run early on, I think we will be set for the offense. The defense, no Aaron Jones. That's you didn't have Aaron Jones the last time we played you in Lambeau, which was in Lambeau. So I think, yeah. Oh, you got the but AJ Dillon. I mean, I think in terms of the Packers offense, now that you don't have Aaron Jones, I think he's their second receiving option. So I feel like when you eliminate that, we can focus a lot on Devontae Adams. And I think the defense will have an easier break now that Aaron Jones is not going to be, playing. So
as a receiving threat, I mean, that does make sense.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think it could be a really close game. I mean, our games are usually close, and they usually, regardless of what records are or anything like that. So, yeah, I imagine it's gonna be a little bit of a nail biter on Sunday. I have one final question.
Are nail biters.
That's true. So. That is very true. That is true. I mean, at this point, it's gonna go into overtime.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I have one final question. Now, are you concerned as a Vikings fan? There's a lot of talk about this Packer stock and, and a lot of Vikings fans in my mentions saying it's such a waste of money and all this great stuff. And I'm not here to talk about that. What I'm talking about is, are you worried that the Icelandic soccer team is going to sue the Minnesota Vikings for the use of the skull chant and bankrupt the city of Minneapolis?
Well, Icelandic, I think they're also, it's a Viking related chant. So I don't know. I think they're going to sue it. I think because we're the Vikings and they take pride, they feel honored that we're honored.
Have you
but
seen your football team, Adam? Why would they feel honored? Why?
I don't know. Maybe for Nordic, I don't know, Nordic heritage. I don't know where I'm going with
It's
this.
just like,
but
oh, it's cold there too. It's fine.
it's cold there too. But maybe they'll. I don't know if they do. I don't mind it. I would mind a different type of a skull chant. Like it's more like a seal, basically like a seal clap.
Maybe we'll have a safety on Sunday. It'll be Kenny Clark consuming Kirk Cousins. That'd be great. But Adam, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I appreciate you coming on and having some fun talking about this game. Can you tell the people where they can find you and all the things you do talking about the Minnesota Vikings?
So yes, I have a Vikings YouTube channel where I talk about Vikings and to make predictions and power rankings, whatnot. It's Minnesota Vikings Man 28. Also have Twitter. Also, same thing, Minnesota Vikings Man 28. Where I talk everything about Vikings and maybe Twitter, sometimes crap on the Packers.
Sometimes, just a little bit, just
sometimes,
a little bit.
Sometimes.
Well, listen, I was debating on what shirt I wanted to wear to our interview. So I made sure that you knew who the reigning defending NBA champs were, and to make sure that we of course represented the Green Bay Packers. But I would wish you luck even for the rest of the season. But like, you could beat the Rams, that'd be cool. Like I'd be solid with that. That'd be a solid win that I would appreciate.
Oh yeah, so you could the
yeah, that'd be good.
That
other than that,
seed again.
Yeah, other than that, there's no well wishes for the Minnesota Vikings, and I do hope that Iceland does sue you, not you personally, just the entire team. And yeah, I know that you are very much looking forward to Aaron Rodgers leaving. But if the Green Bay Packers are able to grab one more of those, I'll be good. I'll be good.
We'll see what Anthony Barr has to say about that on Sunday.
Okay. Well, folks, thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always,
Skull.
Go Pack, go. No, it's not the skull.